Hi, I'm Bo J. Deason. I'm talking with Ms. Boynton about the dog therapy program at Keene High School. So why is the dog therapy program important to have in Keene High School?
We have a lot of kids and staff people today deal with a lot of stress and anxiety with schoolwork, work, just general everyday life, and having a pet or a dog here at the high school will have a calming effect. And I think that just having students be able to take time when they're feeling stressed will really help to alleviate that.
Have other schools been doing this program?
Yes, the committee here at Keene High School that is working on bringing the program to Keene High did make a site visit at Hanover High School. Several of the members did go spend an afternoon talking with the teachers and staff, meeting the dogs, and observing the interaction of the dogs and students. And also Londonderry High School is another school in the state of New Hampshire that has a similar program.
So what are we about to see?
This is the presentation that was held here at Keene High School on Thursday, January 14th.
I'm Amy. I've worked with Everything Dog since 2009. Prior to that, I was an executive director of a local nonprofit. I've since retired from that business, and I work in dog training and behavior full-time now, and that's as of 2015. And just a little bit of extra information. With my personal dogs, I've competed in freestyle frisbee, and there's Big Mama Jubilee flying through the air there doing a pretty cool frisbee trick. That would be cool to show you guys some of that here, but I don't think this is the right setting for that. So we've been out there as a therapy dog team doing some of the work, and we've really seen firsthand some of the great benefits that come along when we go and visit. Jubilee is a trick dog, and she's in the process of earning some trick dog titles. So that's some of the stuff we do. Denise, do you want to talk about yourself just a little bit?
Sure. So I'm Denise Mazzolo. A nice introduction. I've been working with people and dogs for over 25 years. I think it's important to know that a lot of dog trainers think that you're working just with dogs, but you're very much working with people. And this is Giovanni Cavato. We call him Gio. He's one. Doesn't know a lot. He just loves people. He loves other dogs. He's just a lot of fun. He will eat your food if you have any stash, so just watch that. Like I said, we have a Facebook page, we have a web page you can look at. This is really exciting for us. We like to get our dogs out and do cool stuff with you guys, so thanks for having us.
Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about what a therapy dog is. Therapy dogs are either registered or certified, and that's through an organization, and I'll talk about some of those organizations in a second that do that. Just in general, therapy dogs undergo some training, but just personality-wise, they really need to be friendly, social dogs. Do you guys have any doubt that Giovanni over there is a friendly, social dog? Like, he is so happy to be here with you guys today, right? And that's the kind of temperament we're looking for when we're thinking about training a therapy dog. They undergo some training in basic obedience as part of the exam that they need to take, and they need to actually pass a test in order to be registered or certified, and then they're retested periodically. So when Jubilee was registered through an organization, she was through Pet Partners, and we had to retest every 2 years in order to keep our certification up. So I want to talk quickly about the differences between therapy dogs and service dogs, because even within the dog training industry, there tends to be a lot of confusion about this, and they are two very, very different dogs that serve very different functions. So a service dog, that's what we sort of think about when we think about a dog who helps somebody with a visual disability, or maybe somebody who's in a wheelchair or something like that. So a service dog is specifically trained to help people who have disabilities. Generally, they're trained to perform specific functions. Like if somebody drops something on the floor, but that person has a disability where they can't bend over and pick it up, the dog can retrieve that item for them. The dog can turn lights on and off, they can open and close doors, they can do all kinds of things, but they perform very specific functions that assist people who have disabilities. A therapy dog, not so much performing specific functions, right? A therapy dog is really just trained to provide affection, or not trained, but they have the personality that they undergo some training to provide some affection and comfort. And this generally happens in these types of settings: hospitals, retirement homes, nursing homes, schools, hospices, disaster areas, and they can also help individuals who have autism. So do you guys see those differences? It's really a different thing. Okay. So this is just a quick list of some of the registering and certifying organizations. who, they run classes, and then you can take a test, and then you are a registered, therapy dog through this organization. And the benefits of having a therapy dog visit who comes through a registered organization are that they come with liability insurance, which generally when you're going into a facility, that's something that they're a little bit concerned about. So, for instance, when we were doing the work at the Cheshire County House of Corrections, I could just provide them with a liability insurance certificate, and then that sort of answered all those questions about that. And through the testing of a registering or certifying organization, the behavior and temperament of the dog have really been tested and checked, so that we know that this dog is appropriate to come into a variety of settings and to provide the services that they're supposed to provide and to be safe around people, right? So it kind of gives a big check mark on their behavior that says it's a good thing. I can tell you guys personally, when Jubilee and I go up to the Cheshire County House of Corrections, we're there to visit with some of the inmates who are up there. But a lot of times it's the staff, right, who will come into the room prior to my meeting with the inmates, and they will get down on the floor and they will, sort of hug her up and pet her, and it's very a happy night for them when Jubilee comes in. And I think for those guys, it helps kind of reduce the stress of the environment that they're working in, which can be a very stressful environment. In hospital settings, there's data that proves that cardiac patients will recover faster from surgeries and from their procedures. For kids, right, Jubilee has also done some library programs where kids come in and sit with her for about 10 or 15 minutes and do some reading. And the data shows that when we have kids do that, it improves their confidence and it improves their reading skills, actually. And then, as we talked about before, comfort and affection. Therapy dogs can provide comfort in a huge variety of settings. So court, when young children need to testify in court about things that are very difficult, they actually have court-appointed therapy dogs who will come in and hang out with those kids. And they find it's just a lot easier for those kids to talk when they're making a connection with an animal. Cancer and terminal illness patients and their families, hospitals, nursing homes, prisons, and we've coordinated a program where we've taken therapy dogs actually in this community right over to Keene State during their exam time for relaxation day. And I will tell you that of all the programs they offer, the therapy dog program is the most popular, and there's generally a line of like 100 students out the door just so they can come in and pat the dogs for a few minutes. It's pretty awesome for those guys. So some of the more specific benefits, a dog in a facility decreases the feeling of a sterile environment. Now, I'm not calling your school a sterile environment. I'm just saying. That's the language from the document that I was looking at. It can lift moods. I mean, I'm watching you guys sort of watch the dogs wander around, right? You're all like, oh, this is like such a happy time. And this will continue after the visit, which is fantastic news for you. You're going to continue to feel happy like you are right now for some time after the visit. Visiting with a therapy dog can improve feelings of self-esteem, acceptance, and can lift your mood. And for some individuals, it can actually stimulate memory. So maybe like Alzheimer's patients or something like that, like visiting with a therapy dog can stimulate their memory and can help with some problem solving as well. So there's some pretty specific data out there. All right, so here's just some more kind of examples. I have some really cool photos coming up of therapy dogs in action. We've talked about hospital visits. I've talked about the reading program in libraries. So therapy dogs are also being used in airports. Is anybody familiar with this whole idea? Yeah. So, travel can be like a super stressful time for people. And what they're doing now is they're starting to bring therapy dogs into airports just to visit with people who want to visit with them and kind of help reduce some of that stress traveling that happens. They help individuals with mental illness. They can improve morale in the workplace. And like we said before, comfort individuals with autism. So, some specific applications of therapy dogs that you may be familiar with from events in the news. Therapy dogs were used very heavily down in Newtown, Connecticut after their very tragic shootings that they had. And the folks in Newtown and in the schools saw such benefits from having therapy dogs visit after that event that they have now made therapy dogs in schools and installation and just part of what they do on a daily basis. It's pretty awesome. So they have this whole group of therapy dogs that's just assigned to schools, and that's what they do. We talked about Keene State College. The other place that the therapy dogs were heavily used was to comfort and support responders after 9/11. What was happening is, you guys are familiar with 9/11, and there were a lot of rescue dogs being used, right, to try to find people in the rubble and all that. And what they were finding was a lot of the first responders were really drawn to spending time with those rescue dogs. And then so they started bringing in therapy dogs, right, to help relieve some of that stress. Let's take a look at some therapy dogs in action. So here we have dogs visiting airports, right, a whole team of dogs visiting there. I mentioned Newtown, Connecticut, right, and the benefits that they saw down in Newtown. So I think most people are familiar with the fact that therapy dogs are in hospitals, but here's some examples of that as well. I love that picture. I was just talking about the 9/11 World Trade Center site and the use of therapy dogs there to assist responders. And schools, you know, there's a lot of, you guys here at Keene are considering instituting a therapy dog program, and there are a lot of schools already out there that are utilizing therapy dogs in a lot of different ways.